We have another guest in the studio. He is the new chairman of the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA. He's also still a party leader of the Farmers Party, Irungu Nyakera. Good morning, Bona Chairman.
Good morning, and thanks a lot for having me here.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
How's it getting into the board of KEMSA? You know, it's like going to Marafa Health Gate at 12 midday. Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's just hot.
Yes.
Is it?
I think when I was appointed, a lot of people sent me congratulatory remarks, notes, and others were just telling me, I really wish you all the best.
Congratulations and condolence.
And condolence. It's like, yeah, we've seen many people go there and they don't come out of it looking too good.
We've seen what has happened to previous holders of this particular office.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a big thing. Is it a big shoe?
It's big, certainly big, and the fact that it was in the public eyes, lost the image has been tainted and lost face. So there's a lot to do internally, but also externally for people to start viewing it differently. KEMSA is very critical. It's one of the 4 pillars of the universal health coverage pillar. So if it fails, if it does not perform, then of course that whole pillar will collapse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday, your board released a statement, and this is what you said. This is KEMSA's board unveils major reforms, and among the things that you did was, looking at procurement, looking at digitization, financial controls, looking at the human resource, and all those. Of course, what was big in the news is that you have said all the companies that had been pre-qualified to supply KEMSA, you have pulled the rug under them. No more pre-qualification. You also said that all those that have been single-sourced, you are reviewing all those contracts for companies that have been single-sourced and are single supplying to KEMSA, and you're introducing a lotting system in procurement that will set an upper financial limit beyond which no single bidder will win contracts. This and the other. Explain. What exactly was that?
So essentially, KEMSA's biggest issue is on procurement, because when the president appointed me chair, he called me and told me about the role and what he wants me to go do and why he picked me. But more importantly, he just told me when I get there to beware of cartels, that they are cartels. And you see what cartels do is they really take control, and means that there are no policies being followed anymore, and it's never fair game for anybody else to play in that space. KEMSA, when USAID was also there, you're talking of over 50 billion in procurements in a year. Yeah, so it's huge procurements. You find, like, for example, when on HIV alone is over 15 billion, on TB, on malaria. So what you found is some individuals then came in and got what is called framework agreements. You get an agreement, which technically then means that going forward, that item will never be procured
by anybody else.
So you've been given 2-year contract, that anytime that item is being procured, it's just you who will be called and told deliver. During that period, you can increase your price, you can change the location, you can say that the dollar has gone up, increase how much you're paying me, and you will be paid.
But it's within a framework.
It's within the framework.
Okay. Yeah. The framework also looks at, you can't just willy-nilly wake up today and decide, so I'm increasing the price by 500%.
No, you can't. But then also, if you say that we will not be able to deliver at that old price, we need to sit and renegotiate, then you will sit and renegotiate, because then you're the only one who can deliver paracetamol. Yeah, hospitals need paracetamol. You're the only one who will deliver gloves. Hospitals need gloves. Yeah. So that's what has held captive and hostage the organization.
Are there benefits to this structure? Because for people to have arrived at an understanding that they wanted to enact it and to operationalize it,
The only benefit is actually in terms of deliveries, delivery time. So you essentially, because you always have someone who can deliver it, you'll never run out of that stock.
But are they the only people who can deliver it? And is it only with one firm, or are there several firms? Because if for some reason or the other somebody can't deliver and it's only one, therein lies an error.
Exactly.
Yes.
So in many cases, it's actually just one farm that then gets that whole.
But for a set period.
2 years.
Like it's a 2-year period.
So 2 years, then 2 years, of course, you do whatever it takes to get renewed. Yeah.
No,
put out to everybody.
You deliver.
Else. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I have a problem here.
Why?
Because if you are saying that you have this arrangement and only one firm is allowed to procure under this particular structure, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have a choice, already you have a problem.
It's single sourcing. It's a monopoly.
Already
Yes,
is a problem, a huge one.
Yeah. And that's why, so I'm saying, even if they increase the prices, nobody will even look at it, because within the framework, that item is no longer up for discussion. Yeah. And those are the things that we've cancelled. And that's why we are saying, for the next year or so, we will not use framework agreements.
Okay.
All the items will be procured openly, and properly. Will ensure that the quantities that are being procured are procured such that we will still not have stockouts, and they'll be procured as frequently as need be. But open it up for Kenyans. On the issue of having an upper limit, what I was saying is, when someone gets a tender for 2-3 billion, why should it be so when you can have 10 Kenyans getting tenders of 300 million? Having just different deliveries, what we used to call lotting. And it's there within the procurement process. When I was in PS for transport, on the roadside, there were lots. You get, a road is 100 kilometers, 3 companies get 30 kilometers each.
To finish the road.
To finish the road. The specs are the same, But then it means that in terms of delivery times, is faster. In terms of distribution of risk, the risk is distributed. And in terms of even financial gains, there are more people then who get to benefit financially, not just one individual.
But with this framework, are you limited to only having one entity procuring? Can't you have a framework with, say, 4 entities
you
or
can,
5?
You can. You know what? The corruption starts at the specifications, at the point of specification. So you see, like, for example, if you are to specify a meeting to be held on Mombasa Road, I say first that meeting has to be on a road that goes to Mombasa. Then you say it needs to be in a building that looks
just
like
500 meters from Panari.
500 meters for Panari. So when you give those specifications, it all points us to Spice FM head office. So that's the issue. So then all these other people do not qualify. I was seeing where even in terms of a tablet, they're saying a tablet has to be like 33 millimeters. And if all the other tablets are 30 millimeters. So it means
there's already pre-chosen.
There's already one company only that can
allow me to
produce
just
that.
speak into this one here. When you're dealing with medical research and you have pharmaceutical products, unfortunately, if there's a protocol that specifies, say, a certain drug, they even mention it by name, you can't deviate from it. And if that drug has the specifications you speak of, again, you can't deviate from it, because if you deviate, it's a protocol deviation, and you're going to shut down that study. So in that specific instance, it is absolutely necessary.
Yes.
So, I mean, you said at the beginning of this, when this appointment was given to you, that the president said, be careful because you're going to a place of cartels. He may have been onto something. Looking at some of the labels that KEMSA has received over the last, odd 3 to 5 years, KEMSA is one of the most corrupt agencies in the country, etc., etc. I don't agree with that, because I don't think KEMSA as an entity is corrupt. Corruption is practiced by people, individuals, and one would also assume that at this point there are folks, these cartels that we speak about, frothing at the mouth, waiting for an opportunity that will present itself for them to do this thing over and over again. The loopholes that you speak of, where people have been able to fix themselves into, some would think that they will still be able to do it again. I mean, there's a list of what many would call the scandals that have taken place, and then when it comes to something as fundamental and as necessary as healthcare and treatment for the country's distributor of these things to all outlets within the nation, then it is very, very sensitive. Needless to say, there is a hard task that is before you to rid the stain of the image that is already there, and then to make sure that this agency then runs in the way in which it ought to run, without all of this drama and scandal that has previously happened. Do you think it is necessary then to go through personnel? I mean, you know, there's some folks who've been working remotely. They know that there are those who are in the office. There's been a removal of so many. Do you think that it then needs to be a personnel issue when it comes to sorting out some of these problems?
Yes, actually, I would say first, KEMSA in itself is susceptible to all these issues because it's a procurement company. You see, it's for procuring, warehousing, distribution. Those are the functions of KEMSA. And of course, every time there is procurement, then there are interests. And I would say first, the 70% of the issues at KEMSA when we came in were HR issues. Yeah. And we got a very good board. The president gave us a board, independence, a team of 4, excellent, with very good backgrounds on that. So when we came in, one of the first things that we did was to say that all the 200 staff who at that point were working from home to come back to the office. Yeah. And you find that even some of the people working from home were security officers. Yeah.
So really,
and you find that sometimes they also get overtime when they're working from home.
Okay.
So that was the first step. Everybody coming back to the office. Of course, it was chaotic because now these people coming in and they're saying we've been gone for 2 years. Yeah. Others. So already the environment becomes very emotional. Yeah. From there, we called a meeting with all the staff and engage them, just telling them, yeah, we are new, we know your issues, and we want to solve your issues. Then the management, there were 2 sets of management. Half of the managers were at home. Yeah, you find even the HR manager is at home, working from home. But then there's another manager who's been brought to sit in for them. Yeah. So what we did is all the ones who had been seconded to KEMSA, we released them immediately. Yeah, so that now the ones who are sitting at home can come back and take over the stations. But these are stations that they've been gone away from for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So even someone coming in and saying, yes, I'm the finance person, but I need first to check who's the signatory to the banks because I've not been here for those 2 years. But he's a substantive, getting full salary for those 2 years. Yeah. So what the issue of HR, the demoralized and all that. That's why now at this point, now we are looking at the needs assessment of the institution, because clearly there are people who are recruited. We had double staffing, even if it's not double, at least 200-300 people who don't necessarily need to be at KEMSA. Yeah. So that's why one of the things I've said is, or the board resolved, is that the staff who we do not require and are on contract will not get their contracts renewed end of this month. Okay. It's painful, but it's a decision that have to be made.
How many people are we talking about?
Probably about 200.
About 200 who've been working on contract.
Contract, we are talking about double that. About 450.
About 450.
Yeah.
But then there's those who've been seconded from elsewhere.
Yes.
Who've been coming to report to KEMSA on
those
a daily
we've already
basis.
sent them back.
Those ones have gone back.
Yes.
And many who are working from home are now coming back to the office.
Everybody.
But then, during that period, Bona Chairman, you had an organization that was paying all those people working from home, not necessarily being efficient or productive. And then the same organization is paying these other people who've been seconded to it. And the same organization has people on contract.
Yes.
Is the board going to review these decisions and take necessary action? Or recommend necessary action? Or at least invite the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to come in and look into that? Because that's a lot of money wasted. That's a lot of human resource and human capital wasted.
Let's say that the people who worked from home overstayed that, because they should have, even if it was for people to go out for investigations to be carried out, 2 years is too long. And in particular, when you are still need that function carried out, meaning that you hire additional people, and the people at home are getting full salaries. I think it was a complete waste of public resources and KEMSA money. But I think for us, we need to be forward-looking, because if we look back on everything around KEMSA, we'll be stuck there for a very long time. The issues, there are issues that we have to look back. The issues of procurement, where we know that individuals just got free money, delivering nothing but were paid.
But those two are interconnected, Bwana Chairman.
They're interconnected.
The reason why these people are suspended is so that investigations can be conducted into decision-making around these procurement matters. Now, do you have a report of the investigations that are conducted in those 2 years when all these workers were at home? And what do the reports say? Are there people who need to go to court?
I don't think there was much that was being done.
There was no investigation?
No. There wasn't much of investigations that were done. But
the EACC said it's conducting
investigations. The COVID billionaires, as we all remember, were government people. They were linked to government. So there was really nothing that was going to be done to them at that point. And so all those investigations, as we remember, within 2-3 weeks of that, we were just told everything quietened out. People were sent home, innocent people. They went home. The ones who were enjoying their billions continued enjoying state protection to enjoy their billions, and that matter rested.
Are you reviving it?
Actually, the reason why nobody cared to bring these people back is they just felt that everything we've established.
Everything has quieted down. So will you revive those things? Because we still have an issue. KEMSA just 2-3 years ago lost billions of shillings. That's what we were told. We'd like investigations to tell us whether that's true. KEMSA, within those 2 or 3 years, had staff who were colluding with rogue people to fleece the organization. As a board that's coming to clean the mess.
What happened is that the 3 billion, 4 billion that was lost at KEMSA was, and as you will be told, was not lost through non-delivery or poor procurement. That's what you'll be told. Because it was an emergency period, the procurement was done. Where the money was lost was that the items that were procured at very high prices. But then, by the time KEMSA is selling them, they're selling them at market prices or below market prices. And then there were also procured too many items that were unnecessary. Right now, they're still lying in the warehouses at KEMSA. So items that were procured, say, for 3 billion or 2 billion are lying there, but their market price is half or less. But also, there's no market. Where do you take body bags? There's no place. Even Shakahola only needed 500. And here you have, say, 2 million body bags. So it's items that were procured unnecessarily. So even if you start investigating, the person will say, yes, the procurement process went through. I delivered. These are the prices. Yes, the fact that the market collapsed. WHO started coming to distribute free items, COVID masks. So the ones that were at KEMSA to be sold were lying there, and they're still there. So that the issue then to investigate then isn't as material. They managed to beat the system on that.
You have been appointed as a board. The board is supposed to be in charge or oversighting the management. You have not picked the management, not even the CEO. Do you actually have control of this institution?
Actually, we do. Because under the KEMSA Act, the board is actually the overall authority of the organization. It's one that gives authority to the CEO to execute his mandate. So that's why the board, we have the committees on HR, on audit, on finance, governance, and also if, on technical, which is we are a supply chain company, then that is able to those committees are able to meet and engage the CEO and management where they need to understand anything that is happening, and should the board find that there is any reason to sanction management, or they can. So the board has all those powers. What has happened over time, and in Kenya in particular, is that the board that are picked for organizations sometimes are individuals who are not necessarily who are being gifted for
political rewards.
So they don't necessarily have the technical know-how on the issues, and probably not even as interested. So all they want is the stipends that are given. So then you find that the CEO is able to keep feeding them these small stipends, and they allow him then to walk away with murder. Yeah, and the CEO essentially runs the board. Unfortunately for KEMSA, we have a board that is not in that caliber. On my end, to be honest, I will not be given a stipend or 30,000 shillings to overlook anything that is happening. Even $1 million or 2 or 10 won't be enough. And the other members as well. Yeah. We have like one of them she's a former MD of Meds. She's called Jen Masiga. She was the CEO of Meds. Meds essentially runs like KEMSA. Is a KEMSA, yeah, that operates even for USAID. The other one is called Omolo. He's the fellow of CPA. He's in ISPAC. Yeah. The other one is called Jen Batia. She's an advocate, very highly regarded. And then we have another one who's called Bet, and he's also been in various boards and is a businessman, and it's been done very well. So all I'm saying is the board, if a board stands firm, on issues that they want, if it's a transformational agenda that like the one that we have, then management will have to follow.
Respectfully, Bwana Chairman, like you said, it's Kenya, okay? There's the politics that runs things in all state corporations and such other institutions. So the CEO is a political appointee who has come to join the board who are political appointees. Then there is who runs the show at either AFI House, the Ministry of Health, and then that's where also you heard that cartels have a say. If cartels have a sway with the Ministry of Health, then the Ministry of Health runs the show at KEMSA. It doesn't matter what you board are saying. The CEO, who knows who the appointing authority is, will basically just run the board again or ignore the board.
I think on 14th of March, you were there with the president. Yeah, I think I saw you.
Yes.
Yeah. And you asked him the question of KEMSA. And the president said, leave that to me. Yeah. So he said, I will change KEMSA with whatever it takes. Yeah. He was very passionate and deliberate about it. Anybody who comes, who goes against the interest of the president on this will actually not have any political, will not be coming in from any political angle. The president, I'm telling you, when he called me, he told me, even you, if you go to bed with the cartels, please know that you do not call me. Yeah, as you're being taken to court. It's one way, you're alone. Yeah. So essentially, on the issue of KEMSA, because he understands that without KEMSA, the whole UHC does not work. The commodities are provided by KEMSA. The counties, when you hear people saying that counties have no drugs, those are supplied by KEMSA. So if KEMSA is not there, the counties again won't have the drugs. So essentially the whole thing collapses.
When it comes to the president, and yes, the president says this, the president may mean it. When he says, I need KEMSA to work, I need KEMSA to deliver. He's not the only president who's done this. Just a couple of months earlier, his predecessor did exactly the same thing. The president took action. The president removed an entire board of KEMSA, brought in a new board of KEMSA, and he said, you know what, we've got to clean the mess in this institution. In fact, I want a report on KEMSA on my desk within, I don't know, he gave how many weeks. The president of the Republic of Kenya.
Lo and behold.
He spoke about KEMSA. He said he cannot allow KEMSA to be run the way it was being run. Lo and behold.
Do you think
so? What trust do we have now? Man, what confidence, not trust, what confidence can we draw from these latest presidential pronouncements?
I think it's because even the people around the president know that he's very serious about healthcare. Actually, I can tell you I've been there 3 weeks as of yesterday, and I have not received any single instruction from anyone, including the president or the people around him, on how or what to do running KEMSA. Yeah, they're following. Yesterday I got a call. I was told, we need to have a meeting just for a debrief, which we'll have today. Yeah, but that's it. There's nothing, there's someone coming for a tender, there's coming someone who needs to be hired or whatever. Nothing.
Do not worry, it will come.
No, but I'm saying the point is, usually they come in the first few days. So trust me also, it's good that they haven't.
It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. So even if they do, they will come much later when we've established ourselves. Yeah. And also the fact that the president himself is the one who appointed me, then it means that, and nobody will tell me I spoke to the president and to give you the job, because nobody did. Yeah. He gave me that job himself.
If you hadn't been a PS, I would argue with you.
Yeah.
But when you're a PS, especially the ministry you're in,
yes,
that is a living nightmare, landmine. Now, you seem to have survived it, so I could argue that you know your way around these issues.
Yes.
However, the problems around KEMSA, as Ndu aptly put it, is not the institution, it's people. And it's not at the people in KEMSA. No. It's just people. Because of what KEMSA does, it will always be in the eye of the storm.
Yes.
Not just within the parent ministry, but anybody who has connections and wants to make money, because KEMSA is not going to stop procuring.
It won't.
And what KEMSA procures is necessary. It is needed. There's no day you're going to say, today we don't need this, today we don't need the other. It is a continuum. So the problems that KEMSA has had in the past, right now one doesn't hear of them. But let me just say this. You have your work cut out for you. Now let me ask you my question. Irungu Nyakera, do you think that the board you have will support you in ensuring that KEMSA does what it's mandated to do?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I think we have I believe we have a very good board. A board that is committed to getting KEMSA to where it ought to be.
Okay.
The previous board lasted 3 months.
All right. They were Kenyans. This board of yours are also Kenyans.
Yes.
Are they immune to receiving money?
I can't speak for them on that because I wouldn't.
I know. It's actually a very unfair question, but it's an unfair question. I agree it's an unfair question. But the reason why I ask is people start with the noblest of intentions in these matters. Yes. And then somewhere along the line, you actually want to ask. You see, the president appointed you. I am guided by history here. When Mwai Kibaki came in, we are told that it marked the beginning of something that the world looked at and marveled and said, these Kenyans, there are hardly any people on this planet or this globe who are as hopeful as these Kenyans. The goodwill that government had was enormous. And no one doubts that President Kibaki was not going to tolerate any corruption in his government. Again, lo and behold, one of the biggest scandals that this country ever witnessed happened. It didn't take 10 years. What I'm saying is the president will mean well, but there's the human element that always seeks self-gratification in matters that benefit them directly. And you as chairman could become victim to these things, because beyond you, beyond the president, there are other people.
You see, there's a very strong message that the president sent. One, after only 3 months of having a board at KEMSA, he fired it and got a new board. And he said he will do it anywhere. Yeah. So everybody is now aware of that. So in all their dealings, anybody's dealings, they are very careful, because should something come up, they know that they will not be spared, and it will be swift. Yeah. And you see, you are appointed for a term of 3 years. Yeah. And those 3 years, you know, if you can move slowly, yeah, you will be there for those 3 years. You will see some change, and probably you'll also benefit individually over that period of 3 years, and probably even get a reappointment. But if you go the other direction, yeah, then you are certain that you won't last the 3 years, and even if you do, you certainly won't get a reappointment. So I think I'm hoping that that's what the board that I'm with is also thinking, because I'm looking at this KEMSA itself and feeling that, and I know that it's something, the role that we are playing is beyond just personal gratification.
Sure.
It's about serving 52 million Kenyans across the country. We have 8,700 facilities that we deliver drugs to every 3 months. Yeah. So if we are unable, if we allow just our personal interest to come in between that, then it will be unfortunate, and you really don't have a reason to be in that board, or even I wouldn't have a reason to be in that board if that's what I'm going for.
So there's the involvement of the international, bodies with KEMSA,
yes,
especially when it comes to, the United States Development Agency, USAID. There's also the Global Fund when it comes to malaria, HIV, and then of course USAID with infrastructure for blood donorship and things like that. We've not done very well in that relationship. Somehow managed to muck that up. So the question is then, what are the plans to make sure that, contracts or procurement guidelines, standards that have been agreed upon by both bodies then will be kept, and then that relationship can be mended? Because it's some vital stuff that they're doing. We're talking about, from a donor point of view, they've filled some really, big holes when it's come to HIV/AIDS, especially malaria, which is still the number one killer. But they're not very happy right now, isn't it? So how will that now be sorted out as, KEMSA gets this new lease of life?
Yeah, a lot of our stakeholders are not happy. Yeah, so both the local, of course, the governors, the order fill rates are low. We're only filling about 54% of whatever they come to us. The donors, International Global Fund, was unhappy, although they are not fully unhappy with KEMSA. You see, KEMSA is a good punching bag. Yeah? So anyone who feels that something is coming can always push KEMSA to don't want to be hit. But then they are aware that it's not necessarily KEMSA that played that role fully. But USAID was a big one. USAID. But we have what we call the implementation letter. That where they gave us a letter with a list of deliverables from our end that we need to achieve for them to come back to KEMSA. At the moment, they are still operating under KEMSA, but with an agency with the meds. So we expect by November for USAID to start coming in to KEMSA. Some of the things that you saw us make pronouncements on yesterday were to also allow for us to meet those set targets from USAID. One is the ERP. Currently, KEMSA has 2 ERPs, 2 systems. One operates the warehouse, the other one operates the enterprise, but they don't talk to each other. Yeah, so someone sitting in finance cannot know how much stock there is. It is sometimes it's not coincidence.
It's such a diplomatic way of putting it. So not cannot talk, will not talk.
Yes, they will not talk. Yes. Yeah. So now we are putting together. Within the next 3 months, or later 6 months, we'll have started rolling out a new ERP. That then even goes all the way to the counties. We've been just pushing drugs to counties, but we want to pull from counties. We want to know which are the fast moving drugs in Tana River, which are the fast moving drugs in Wajir. So we stock for them so that they will never have stockouts for them. Our target is to achieve 90% fill rates and the turnaround time
of what period of time?
Within the next 3 months.
Okay.
Within the next 3 months. And we were there before. About 3 years ago, they were able to do about 90%. Last year, they were doing about 70%. So we are able to go back to about 90%. Yeah. So then the turnaround time, so that the hospitals right now, the turnaround time is about 17 days, but we can bring it down to about 10 days. Yeah, with the order. So there's a lot that we need to do. Our stakeholders, as you mentioned, even this week, next week, we'll be meeting with them, the USAID, Global Fund, and all the others, because they've been supporting us in a big way. And actually, I was surprised that the donor community in Toronto gives about 51 billion for HIV alone annually.
Every year.
Every year. Yeah. So that's a huge commitment from them. Yeah. And that's why for us, we want to build up on that relationship and ensure that we're seeing even new partners coming. Like there's one called Max Foundation, which is giving about 6 billion a year on oncology mostly for the referral hospitals, for the large referral hospitals. So if we can be able to strengthen our brand and our image and through first the introspection internally to build on what we look at the areas we've failed, and of course then project that outside, then we're actually able to attract a lot more to help build the KEMSA that we all deserve.
Irungu, you are the party leader of Farmers Party.
Yes.
So one of the principles of Kenya Kwanza. In the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, KEMSA features prominently, like you said, as a driver of universal health coverage. One of the proposals that was there in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto was how to use KEMSA and others in liberalizing the medical supplies side, using OTS, just like it happens in the oil marketing sector. So we have, these are the needs of all the hospitals in Kenya, place them here, let KEMSA and others bid for the supply to all these hospitals. Is KEMSA preparing for that? And what would that mean if actually now KEMSA started facing direct competition in supply of medical commodities and equipment?
Actually, KEMSA operated properly will always have cheaper drugs and everything than any other private operator. There are certain tax benefits that it enjoys. There is economies of scale in huge procurements, and also the distribution platform. Currently, as you said, we're able to deliver to 8,700 facilities. Others, it's very hard for anyone else to be able to do that. Meds are actually using the KEMSA distributors for the last mile. So I think for us, the way the law currently is, and I am guessing it won't really be changed, is that the counties approach KEMSA, and whatever KEMSA does not have, then the counties can approach the private sector, private players. So what we're saying is that we want to build on that to make it 90%, that the counties will always get 90% of what their needs are. And of this 90% is to guarantee the county, one, on quality, because for us on quality assurance is huge. We're actually putting up the lab, an additional lab facility to ensure that the quality of all the products that we get is very high standard. But secondly, we provide counties with credit facilities, because counties give us, take the drugs, and then once they are paid by the government, then they're able to pay us, which again, private sector, you might find that they'll have a struggle with that. And then finally is just in terms of the prices. What we are setting up a market research department within the procurement, and that's one of the things that we want to institute within the coming months, that will be able to look at the drugs that we are supplying, and to ensure that at all times our prices are either market or below market, for us to be delivering to the counties to give them that benefit.
Are you saying that these clawback on that promise for OTS?
You see, I think
like a slowdown, because that's the campaign promise, that you're going to have an open tender system
at the end of the day.
Our health
At the end of the day, the question is the benefits that come with whatever we aspire. Because if KEMSA is not able to deliver cheaper prices, is not able to provide guaranteed quality, proper, and then then there will be need for those private players to be able to come in. But if we are able to, if you are competitive and you're able to do it in time and the quality is there and you have the proper distribution platform, then it means that you're saving the nation money, and hence there would be any need for that.
There was an issue with counties previously, and it probably still is an issue now in terms of distribution to counties and then having a backlog in terms of payment. Counties are in a bit of a pickle at the moment, and they've been for some time. And that means, being able to pay what they owe has been difficult, of course, because of money coming from the Treasury that at this point, unfortunately, is non-existent. How would then you be able to battle? Because the counties need the supplies at their level. Dispensary, referral, whatever level hospital. They don't have money sometimes to be able to pay KEMSA. What happens and how would you deal with that?
I think that's actually our biggest problem right now, because currently counties owe us about 3 billion shillings. But we've started seeing them, I think, as the confidence builds. Like last month, May, they paid us 1 billion shillings. So it means as the confidence grows in KEMSA, then the counties will start paying, because they're usually paid. Actually, even in their IBs, the instructions they send to the controller of budget, KEMSA is always there. But once money comes to their banks, they don't pay KEMSA. So also it's an arrangement which we will be meeting with the chair of governing council, the governors this week or next week, just to see how they can help us, just so that counties can make the payments. Once they pay us, we'll be able to do that. Also, we'll be talking, we are working with our ministry so that we can be recapitalized from the COVID losses. Of course, that ate into KEMSA's capital. That money is what we were able to now buy in advance and lend to counties essentially. But now without that money, we'll struggle on that. So it's an area recapitalization. We have to be recapitalized. Counties have to pay. The other debtors also have to pay for us now to be in a good financial position to be able to extend the same to the counties. But it's all about confidence. If people and counties and everybody else within the system feel, even the National Treasury, if they feel that KEMSA will put money and all of it will be eaten, nobody will put money. But so now if...
Your biggest clients are the counties?
Yes, counties, 90%.
And they owe you a hell of a lot of money?
3 billion.
There's a plan to get this money?
Yes. So far, actually, every governor I meet, I bump into, usually is telling me, I'll pay you next week. So there's one who told me they paid me, but still the amount he told me so that I was told he paid half. So I'll look for him to pay the other half. So
you're becoming a debt collector as well. Chairman, debt collector, plus everything. As we conclude, Irungu, in just 30 seconds, what the actions that you took yesterday in terms of procurement, it's a legal minefield. When you say that you have cancelled all pre-qualification, you're cancelling contracts that are already there, how exactly are you doing this without ending up in court and costing us money?
There's a legal precedence in a lot of these institutions that have come in and have done the same, where you feel that whatever has been procured, there's no value for money. There's a contract, for example, that we were paying 2.5 million a month for nothing to be done, and it is there. There's another one that where last year the contract was 12 million, but now the new one they brought for the to be signed is for 26 million. So all those contracts are there, and that's why we are saying we were not party to those contracts. We cannot oversee them going through. We need a fresh, clean. We are changing the procurement department, enhancing it, capacity building. So we have to, and that's why we feel with a new team, let's get new structures, new systems, new partners, and we rid of the corruption.
Okay. Irungu Nyakera, chairman of KEMSA, has been our guest. Keep it here for more conversations.
Spice.